hiding these things because these are practical impediments that we are confronted with every day. So in the communique, we are mentioning specifically the issues and the problems, the challenges and the prospects, so that all of us can look at how to resolve them. So if I'm mentioning just Ghana and 2 others, and I'll leave the rest. But there are many of these impediments and blockades at our borders, which is not pushing trade facilitation in our continent. ECOWAS have protocols, but when you are bringing goods from Nigeria to Ghana or Ghana to Nigeria, our sisters in Benin started taking what we call transit fee. A lot of people complained when we met. In short, I just want to say that colonial masters brought about the borders, and that is why we are different people. Before the borders, we were one people. So have it at the back of your mind as we discuss cross-border trade today and tomorrow, that we are one people. Togolese, Ghanaians, Nigerians, Burkinabes, we are all one people. And for that matter, the borders must be planned and harmonized so that we can have one African united system that will regulate the free flow of movement, people and services across board, so that development can come to West Africa and we can have our economic emancipation to build our country, society, and the next generation to come. So on that note, I want to welcome all of you for spending time with us, and I hope we'll have a fruitful discussion and look at some of these barriers. If I did not mention issues in other countries, it's because I do not have time and I had to highlight my country and another country. There will be time for us to look at the challenges that we have to resolve as a team for this 2-day workshop. Honorable Chair, I'm very grateful for this opportunity, and Honorable Minister and High Table, we are grateful that you came. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Owusu. That was excellent. I mean, we are all very proud to see what the POS Foundation has been doing, including its work on access to justice, as you saw from the video. And it's quite amazing that today we are here talking about issues concerning small-scale cross-border trade, again, facilitated by POS Foundation. And we know that with this facilitation through this workshop and previous workshops, we will be able to achieve our goals. We will be able to achieve success at the borders so that we can increase cross-border trade and reduce the impediments that we currently are faced at the borders. To that extent, I just also want to add here that the small-scale traders want to expand their business, but they face enormous challenges in doing so. In addition to the problems and costs they incur in crossing borders, small-scale traders are constrained by lack of access to capital, limited knowledge of business procedures, and limitations on the distance they can travel from the border, both regulatory and logistical. For example, in terms of appropriate transport, few traders have bank accounts and collateral to secure even small loans. It's very difficult to leverage. The majority of traders want to enhance their limited business skill. This is me making, speaking on behalf of the traders. Now, we're going to have opening remarks from all the countries that are represented here, starting with Togo. For Togo, we will have Professor Wanyara Kwame Osajifo, Professor of Economics at University of Accra, Togo.
Ok, merci. Je crois que je vais aller en français, parce que dans les pays francophones aussi qui sont représentés. Donc, honorable ministre, honorable secrétaire exécutif de poste, honorable invité à la table d'honneur, représentants des délégations des différents pays, membres de ce projet, chers invités, les collègues des médias. Je crois que je ne devrais pas prendre la parole, mais je vais quand même essayer d'improviser. La première chose, je voulais juste rappeler qu'aujourd'hui c'est la date d'indépendance du Togo, le 27 avril. Je voulais féliciter la délégation togolaise, malgré cette date importante, qui a quand même fait le déplacement d'Accra. Ceci pour dire que le sujet qui nous rassemble aujourd'hui est un sujet plus que pertinent pour nos populations. Alors, le schéma de libéralisation de la CEDEAO, l'organisation qui est mise en place dans le processus d'intégration régionale depuis les années 1975, devait permettre à ce qu'on accroisse le commerce entre nos pays. Mais aujourd'hui, le constat est là. Le commerce intra-régional est autour de moins de 17%. Et lorsqu'on regarde au niveau du continent africain, on est encore relativement moins performant. Alors, comment faire pour accroître le commerce intra-africain si on ne saute pas les verrous par rapport au commerce transfrontalier, le commerce qui implique les femmes et les jeunes, nos mamans. Et donc, il va falloir essayer de sauter le verrou là et aller vers l'amélioration des capacités productives et le bien-être des populations. Je crois qu'essentiellement, c'est ce qui nous rassemble. Alors, par rapport au Togo, beaucoup d'efforts sont faits, mais beaucoup reste à faire. Beaucoup reste à faire. Il a donné l'exemple du Ghana. Les Ghanéens aussi donneront l'exemple de leurs difficultés à traverser vers le Togo. C'est pareil aujourd'hui le cas avec le Bénin. Vous savez, il y a des difficultés. Et même, il y a une task force qui est mise en place pour régler le problème avec le Bénin actuellement. Il y a eu le cas du Nigeria et du Bénin. Et tout ça, ce sont des éléments probants qui, en fait, entachent le commerce transfrontalier. Aujourd'hui, il y a un fait marquant, c'est la zone de libre-échange continentale africaine. Dans ce cadre, j'ai la chance d'élaborer la stratégie nationale pour le Togo. Ensuite, j'ai la chance d'élaborer la stratégie régionale pour ECOWAS, pour la CEDEAO, avec le procès SEC de Dakar, où nous avons mis en lumière le commerce transfrontalier. Sans ce commerce, nous ne saurons pas comment faire pour mieux intégrer la zone. D'abord ECOWAS, CEDEAO, et comment intégrer la zone continentale africaine. Je crois que c'est autant de challenges que nous avons pour pouvoir réussir à capter les forts potentiels dont la zone de libre-échange continentale africaine et FCTA permettra à nos pays d'engranger. Ceci dit, pour résumer mes propos, les pratiques anormales sont en fait au cœur de ce débat. Les contrôles au niveau des frontières, les contrôles sur le corridor. Je crois qu'une dernière étude que nous avons eu à mener en 2015 montre que le Togo a diminué le nombre de barrières, de contrôles sur le corridor Togo-Burkina. Mais vous voyez aujourd'hui, il y a un élément très important que nous devons relever, c'est l'insécurité, le terrorisme qui menace la sous-région. Et donc, je pense à mon avis que cet événement, mis en marche, l'avènement de la Covid, cet événement d'insécurité va encore, à un moment donné, créer plus de postes de contrôle sur le corridor Abidjan-Lagos et le corridor allant vers le Burkina. Ceci dit, ce sont, comment l'appelle-t-on, des éléments importants que nous devons relever pour dire que on va essayer de supprimer les barrières, mais essayons de voir comment mettre à contribution tous ces éléments-là pour que le facteur sécuritaire soit pris en compte dans tous ces éléments. Et pour finir, l'aspect technologie, je crois qu'il faut avoir une idée juste de la part de la population qui a accès à Internet dans nos pays pour avoir une idée de comment sauter les verrous d'accès technologique. L'accès à la technologie va permettre de faciliter les formalités douanières, les formalités par rapport à la traversée des frontières et aussi l'accès au marché des personnes qui sont impliquées dans le commerce transfrontalier. Je vais m'arrêter ici en souhaitant bon succès à nos travaux. Nous aurons le temps de discuter de long à large. Merci.
Benin come and give us his opening remarks, and that will be Monsieur Fanou Hansou from the Federation of Employers Benin.
Honorable Monsieur le ministre adjoint du Commerce, Honorable Monsieur le directeur de la Commission, Honorable Monsieur Jonathan, Madame la Reine, chers honorables de la délégation au podium, chers invités, chers collègues, chers partenaires, je suis honoré, tout comme tant d'autres ici, d'être invité à ce rendez-vous vraiment qui rehausse les problèmes du commerce transfrontalier au niveau de notre espace ouest-africain. Avant d'entamer mon petit mot, j'aimerais souligner que nous avons cet exploit dans l'Afrique de l'Ouest d'innover toujours, d'être les précurseurs. Je connais un peu les problèmes au niveau de beaucoup de frontières, mais ouest africain, c'est déjà intéressant qu'on puisse nous asseoir pour réfléchir aux problèmes qui minent le petit commerce de nos mamans. Et je voudrais aussi souligner, ajouter qu'il ne s'agit pas seulement de petit commerce de nos mamans, mais de commerce de façon générale. Le secteur économique étant le moteur de développement des États, je crois que nous devons explorer tous les aspects du commerce de façon générale. Ceci dit, en répondant à ce rendez-vous de dialogue et d'identification des défis et perspectives, le Bénin, déjà dans son plan de réforme dans tous les secteurs vitaux, a accordé une place de choix au commerce transfrontalier, tant au ministère du Commerce, au ministère de l'économie et des finances, qu'au ministère de l'Intérieur, à travers les différents services intervenant dans les frontières que la délégation béninoise ne tardera à vous livrer. La délégation justement composée de M. Dakpe K. Yves, commissaire principal de police, chef service des frontières à la direction de l'immigration et de l'immigration. De M. Margondi Florentin, contrôleur des douanes, chef service facilitation et partenariat. Et moi-même, Peniel Fanou, je suis le président d'une association des exportateurs de noix de cajou au Bénin et en même temps représentant légal de CONEB qui est partenaire à ce projet. Et donc, de par nos expériences à divers niveaux, chacun des membres de cette délégation livrera les expériences vécues, mais il faut déjà noter qu'au niveau du Bénin, de façon générale, il y a entre autres les tests qui régissent le commerce des... Ok, thank you. Qui régissent le code des impôts qui accorde des avantages aux micro et petites entreprises, le vote de la loi organisant les petites et moyennes entreprises, la dématérialisation des systèmes fiscaux. Je crois que dans nos échanges, nous reviendrons sur ces différents aspects et je vous remercie et bonne continuation.
Merci beaucoup. Now we will have the representative from Côte d'Ivoire to give us his opening remarks, and his name is Grigo Doba Patien, and he's the Officer Commissioner of Ivorian Police.
Thank you. Honorable Monsieur le Ministre, honorable la Reine-Mère, honorable illustre personnalité de la table d'honneur, honorable invité représentant des délégations des pays frères, chers frères de la presse, je tenais avant tout propos saluer la tenue de cette conférence qui promeut la facilitation du commerce transfrontalier à petite échelle. Comme elle a dit tantôt, je suis Grigo Doba, commissaire de police, point focal au sein du mécanisme de libre circulation, police ivoirienne. J'ai dans ma délégation Madame Gouin de la Chambre de commerce et d'industrie, Monsieur Amara Traoré de l'Alliance bordelaise et de Madame Dakouri Seli de l'Office ivoirien des droits de l'homme. L'État ivoirien, à l'instar de tous les pays membres de la CEDEAO, participe nécessairement à la réalisation efficiente du principe primordial de cette organisation régionale qu'est l'intégration. Ainsi, à travers ces structures étatiques, la Côte d'Ivoire joue un rôle fondamental. À ce titre, la police nationale, dont la mission première est la sécurité des biens et des personnes, s'est engagée résolument dans la promotion du commerce transfrontalier à petite échelle. À cet effet, elle s'est dotée de moyens tendant à œuvrer dans la facilitation de la libre circulation des biens et des personnes. Entre autres, on peut citer sa présence au sein du comité national de pilotage du mécanisme dont je suis le point focal, lequel mécanisme qui aboutit à la mise en œuvre des documents de fouille avec le contrôle groupé des fiches d'identification, de suivi et d'assistance des commerçants. Ces 10 documents font partie, bien entendu, des dispositions communautaires. Et même, tout récemment, avec la flambée des prix des denrées alimentaires, ainsi que le bétail qui se faisait de plus en plus rare, le même mécanisme sous l'égide du ministère du Transport, du ministère du Commerce, du ministère des Ressources animales et halieutiques, ainsi que du ministère de l'Intégration africaine, en collaboration bien sûr avec les forces de défense et de sécurité, dont la gendarmerie, la police nationale, la douane, les eaux et forêts, ont mis en œuvre une politique pour permettre à la facilitation dans l'approvisionnement du pays en bétail. Cette fiche est dénommée fiche d'identification du transport-retour des bouviers. J'explique. Dans l'approvisionnement du bétail au niveau ivoirien, dans l'état de Côte d'Ivoire, il y avait une facilité pour les commerçants d'avoir accès à l'état ivoirien. Maintenant, ils étaient confrontés à des difficultés en ce qui concerne leur retour, puisque, merci bien, je ne sais pas là. Puisque lorsque les bouviers, c'est-à-dire ceux qui surveillent le bétail dans les camions, lorsqu'ils arrivent, lorsqu'ils finissent de vendre le bétail, ils ont des difficultés à pouvoir retourner. C'est pourquoi une politique a été mise en œuvre, c'est-à-dire une fiche d'identification qui leur permettra de pouvoir regagner les pays et respectifs. Et cette politique marche véritablement. À cela, on peut ajouter le gain en trajet pour les commerçants. Dans le temps, le corridor Abidjan-Niamey, pour avoir accès au territoire ivoirien, il fallait faire plusieurs jours. Mais avec la destruction, souvent même la répression de tous les barrages illicites, le corridor Abidjan-Niamey se fait maintenant en une seule journée. C'est un travail à saluer, c'est un gain notable. Toutefois, certaines difficultés demeurent. C'est pourquoi j'ai salué d'entrée de jeu la tenue de cette conférence pour vous écouter, pour voir les difficultés auxquelles tous les acteurs sont confrontés. Ainsi, ensemble, nous allons prendre des résolutions pour permettre à ce que le commerce transfrontalier à petite échelle soit une réalité, soit une réussite dans la sous-région. Je vous remercie.
Merci beaucoup. We will now have the representative from Burkina Faso to give us his opening remarks. And his name is Ouattara Dougou Tigui.
Bonjour à tout le monde. Honorable Monsieur le ministre adjoint du Commerce, honorable, je dirais, membre du Présidium pour faire court, chers participants, mesdames et messieurs, c'est un grand plaisir pour nous, pour la délégation du Burkina Faso, à prendre part à cette réunion. Mais avant tout propos, je voudrais, avec votre permission, vous donner un peu la composition de la délégation du Burkina Faso. Je suis M. Ouattara Dougou Tigui Konkondé Germain, du ministère des Affaires étrangères du Bureau national CEDEAO. Les pays de notre africains sont déjà concernés et la démarche du fait de passer de pays toucher du doigt les réalités de chaque État, une région et une réunion régionale au niveau du Ghana ici pour faire le point est à saluer. Le Burkina Faso se réjouit déjà des choix de ce pays et il est intéressant de noter que le Burkina Faso depuis 2014 est champion de la libre circulation des biens et des personnes. Il a été désigné par ses pairs de la CEDEAO. Donc nous nous réjouissons d'être là parmi vous ce matin. Au niveau national, il faut dire que le Burkina Faso entreprend chaque année ce que nous appelons des enquêtes routières en collaboration avec l'UEMOA. Il s'agit de façon anonyme de mener des enquêtes routières pour toucher du doigt les difficultés auxquelles font face nos différents commerçants. Donc ce sont des frontières, ce sont des pays frontaliers qui sont ciblés. Nous avons Ouaga Abidjan, Ouaga Lomé, Ouaga Accra, Ouaga Bamako. Et chaque année, nous produisons un rapport à président du Faso qui, lui, après validation, transmet à la commission de la CEDEAO pour en fait toucher du doigt ce qui se passe au niveau de nos frontières. Face à de nombreux défis que sont le défi sécuritaire et bien évidemment sanitaire qui a mené nos États à fermer leurs frontières, affectant ainsi la dynamique de l'intégration entamée. C'est pourquoi il est plus important pour nous d'explorer d'autres outils innovateurs et vigoureux pour lever durablement toutes les barrières au commerce intra-régional. C'est de cette manière que nous assurerons le développement harmonieux de nos populations dans la paix, la prospérité, la raison d'être de notre région. L'un des principaux, disons, objectifs de la CEDEAO, c'est l'intégration économique. Bien avant celle des peuples, c'est l'intégration économique. Alors, j'espère très bien que ces 2 jours que nous passerons ensemble, nous donneront l'opportunité de nous parler franchement. Comme le disait mon prédécesseur, nous sommes toujours habiles à prendre des textes, nous sommes toujours innovateurs, mais souvent la mise en œuvre effective cause problème. C'est pourquoi j'invite tous les acteurs de la chaîne, à quelque niveau qu'ils se trouvent, de ne ménager aucun effort pour la mise effective des décisions qui seront prises ici, afin de faciliter le commerce à nos populations, à nos femmes, à nos enfants et à nos jeunes. Je vous remercie.
Merci beaucoup, monsieur. We will now have opening remarks from the representative for Nigeria, who is DSI Adetun Adewumi Sheyindemi.
You're doing really well, thank you. Good morning, everyone, once again. Permit me to stand on the existing protocol so as not to saddle us with all of that over and again. Promoting small-scale cross-border trade, rule of law and use of technology in West Africa. I, from a different perspective from what I've heard so far, would like to divide everything said in this team from the fact of promotion to the small-scale, to the cross-border trade, and the use of the rule of law in the technology of West Africa. First, I want to bring you greetings from this artist CGIS. It says I should appreciate your commission for the good work you're doing here. I was privileged to be part of this when they came to Nigeria, and I was there with my Assistant Comptroller General, and it was a beautiful time. And I must say that I am privileged to be standing in front of this noble men and women in this room this morning. Good morning once again. I say small-scale cross-border trade is of substantial importance in our countries, whether or not we want to face the realities, but that we must do it in cognizance and consciousness of the rule of law. Because the truth of the matter is, we understand and believe that literally the restriction of arbitrary exercise of power by subordinating it to well-defined and established laws is what rule of law is all about. And then that tells us that without rule or without law, there are no offenses. Yes, we are one family. Yes, we see ourselves as one because we are one Africa, one voice, one people. But we should always remember that in all of this, we are of different mothers, but from one father. And as such, we have our rules guiding us from our maternity, in as much as we all claim one paternity. So every country has their law that we must understand as we do our trade. Hence, for instance, I say the statutory power that is binding on the immigration service in Nigeria is to monitor the movement of people entering and going out of the country. So in essence, I will not just pick up my bag because we have one father and then move from Nigeria and begin to do trade across board, Ghana, Cote d'Ivoire, Benin, to mention but a few, without understanding what is obtainable for me to do the trade across board. And I believe that is why POS is coming up with this, because it's not for me to come and lecture us now. It's just for me to make us understand why we are here. And I want to believe that every one of us in this room will understand it after this 2-day program, that we need not to just sit down in the comfort of our zones and our countries and believe we have a right to cross borders without necessarily understanding the rules of crossing the borders. You accept with me, by the ECOWAS treaties signed in Lagos State, Nigeria in 1975, that the one who is actually carrying the burden of this issue we are discussing in this room today is majorly Nigeria, wherein you have your sitting room in Nigeria and your kitchen in Benin Republic. For instance, you have your bathroom in Ghana and your kitchen probably in Nigeria. All of this makes us makes us want to think we have rights. But we also need to understand that beyond that right, there are boundaries and there are rules. That's why I want to believe that in this 2 days program, we will be able to understand the instances of the statutory laws and powers that are obtainable by each of our countries, and then we'll work in synergy to achieve and attain our goals. And then the use of technology, like I said here, is evolving and is actually shaping out in our workplaces, in our societies, in everything we do. The average person out there has a smartphone. It's just that we have not made up our minds to use them in the right ways. So that mama who never went to school, like he said, also has our own circle of friends, and they understand what they should understand. It's just that somehow, somewhere, we have neglected the majors and we are majoring on the minors. Before we leave here by the end of the program, I want to believe that we'll be able to, together as one body, one family, come to an understanding that trade is a continual process. We can't stop it. It started before the existence of you and I. It will continue when we are no more. But we have to learn to do it right. God bless you as we have a beautiful time.
Thank you very much again, DSI Adetum Adewumi Sheyin Demi. We will now have a representative from Ghana give us the opening remarks, and his name is George Tete, Assistant Commissioner Preventive, Ghana Customs.
Good morning, all. Honorable Chairman, Minister, high members of the High Table, our delegates from sister countries, I take this opportunity to welcome you all. Our take on small-scale border trade. It is very important to have this forum at this time because cross-border trade is of tremendous interest to us. It's a source of revenue that is our main function in customs. It also helps in food security across borders, job creation among others. We, however, have to be mindful of the fact that as we progress in this duty, certain laws and responsibilities which are very onerous on customs are adhered to. I believe it is same with other sister institutions at the border. I also believe at this forum we will abreast ourselves to our duties and responsibilities of people engaged in cross-border trade, which the majority might be, I would say, that ignorant about the laws that pertains to whatever they do. As we do this trade, we are mindful of the fact that we have a responsibility to protect our borders because illegal trade and terrorist attacks imminent of the state are also a duty for us to perform. That will cause us to engage in some form of rigorous activities which might not be acceptable to people who might not understand the dangers of these things. We also have a duty to protect the safety, health of the state and our sister states. At the same time, the proliferation of small arms, which is a danger to us. However, looking at the benefits of cross-border trade, we cannot underestimate it. It is our candid opinion that there will be much education among the trading public, and trying to foster this on the pedestal of technology. I believe customs operations in Ghana is automated, and whatever will come out from this conference, we'll integrate it into our practice, take a cue, and do our work in a more diligent and meaningful manner. We cannot rule out the fact that one time or the other there might be unprofessional behaviors, bottlenecks to international trade. However, having our sister countries here, we believe from here we will foster together in a better understanding and do our work in a better professional way. Thank you all.
Thank you very much. We are so grateful. Let me remind all of us that last week we also had the traders and the trade unions and the chambers of commerce meet, and they put together their challenges, which we will present later in the program. And of course, the names of customs and immigration was mentioned. And so I hope that during this process, we'll have the opportunity to discuss and share ideas on how we can together drive trade, small-scale trade across the borders. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm honored again to introduce our special guest of honor who is going to speak with us. Our special guest of honor is Nana Yopeyo Dadechu III, the Queen Mother of Dodowa, who is also a human rights advocate, a child's rights advocate, and a person who promotes rule of law. Ladies and gentlemen, let's welcome Nana Yopeyo Dadechu III. Thank you.
Thank you very much, and welcome to Ghana as usual. The chairperson, officers and representatives from the various ministries, officials from the Immigration, Customs and Border Security agencies, all protocol observed, ladies and gentlemen. I'm honored and thankful to the organizers of this program for considering me to be part of such an important sub-regional workshop on small-scale cross-border trade, rule of law, and the use of technology. This topic has a very close connection to me as a woman and a traditional leader as well, most especially because women are a vital aspect of trade, and research has shown that majority of small-scale cross-border traders are women. It is important that development includes women. For women, women are developed, it contributes greatly to overall growth and development of West Africa as a sub-region. It is evident that women contribute significantly to cross-border trade and make sacrifices to ensure that life is comfortable for children and society as a whole. Therefore, this discussion is very important. One needs to bring to light the situation of cross-border trade for both men and women in the 6 sub-West African regions. The time has come for West Africa to trade among ourselves and find ways to maximize trading to bring about overall development of Africa and her people. It is upon this that I'm most grateful
for the invitation to be part of this event and this discussion. I recognize the role continuous efforts and dedication men also make and contribute to the development of trade in the sub-region. And I'm of the opinion that to facilitate overall development achievement and achieve sustainability and effective growth of the West African population, a gender perspective to development must be adapted in cross-border trade to eradicate poverty across gender and achieve trade liberalization and facilitation. I urge you all to support this discussion wholeheartedly and provide the needed expertise and understanding to make this two-day event a success. Thank you.
Thank you very much. We are so grateful, Nana, for this wonderful statement, especially reiterating the importance of gender and women in this discussion. We are also honored to have a representative of the Ministry of Trade, Mr. Chermi, who is here, who also gives some remarks from the Ministry of Trade. Thank you. Let's give it up for Mr. Chermi.
I also want to stand on existing protocols and say good morning to you all, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Tremet Yabua. I'm the head of trade facilitation and import management at the Ministry of Trade and Industry, and recently appointed the chair of ECOWAS Trade Facilitation Committee. When we talk about trade facilitation and cross-border trade, yesterday I was asked to speak on this issue, on this topic. The question I asked the audience is that, being a West African or being a Ghanaian, have you ever traveled by road to any of the member states before in the West African sub-region? I had the opportunity to travel by road from Abidjan to Lagos from the beginning of this year. What we were trying to do was to see or to have a first-hand feel of the challenges cross-border traders bring to our office. So we drove all the way from Abidjan through Elubo to Togo, all the way through Semekrake to Lagos and came back. When we talk about cross-border trade and the corridors in the sub-region, Abidjan-Lagos corridor is just one of the corridors. We have the Abidjan-Ouagadougou corridor, Accra-Ouagadougou corridor, Lomé-Ouagadougou, Lagos-Niamey, Dakar-Niamey, and also Abidjan to Niamey. A lot of people ply this route almost every day. And if you live in Ghana, you will attest to the fact that tomato, onions, livestock like sheep, cow, and other things come from Burkina Faso. Now the question is, what are the challenges? If you take Abidjan-Lagos corridor, it is 1,028 kilometers by road. And this corridor has over 75 million population. But transporters do this road in 3 weeks. When I talk about transporters, I mean the big trucks that we see on our road, assuming the truck is meant for Lagos from Abidjan. In actual sense, if trade was facilitated, or if movement were not impeded, they should do this journey in 3 days. But rather, it is done in 3 weeks. What are the challenges that we are talking about? Language barrier. We have Francophone countries and Anglophone countries. Challenges in custom processes and procedures. Immediately you move out of Ghana. Ghana, our system is what we call the ICOMS, the Integrated Customs Management System. Togo has a different system, which is ASECUDA. Cote d'Ivoire has a different system. Benin has a different system. So as Nigeria. If a transit vehicle is moving from Abidjan all the way to Lagos, each of these customs processes needs to be abided or needs to be followed immediately we get to the border. We are supposed to have a system where customs, immigration, and all the border officers could see that this transit vehicle is coming and do the processes before even the vehicle gets there. Not only that, we have immigration issues. My sister from Nigeria did mention. You see, when COVID-19 hit and the borders were closed, you bear with me that it was close to human trafficking, but it was not close to what? Goods. But goods do not move alone. Have you seen a good coming alone without human beings? So goods move with humans. So the transporters need to drive the vehicles. They come with the assistants, what we normally call the mates. Immigration issues. At times they will come to the border not having any document on them. We had this discussion at Elubo just last week that some of the transporters get to the border, they don't have any documentation, they don't have a passport, they have nothing. How do they cross the border? So all these are issues that is bedeviling trade facilitation. And from where I sit at the Ministry of Trade and Industry, being the head of trade facilitation, it comes to our desk and we are working at it. But you see, it is said that when you know a problem, it is half solved. We know the challenges. Then what are we doing as government? What are we doing as ministry? What are we doing as Ghana or ECOWAS? Just allow me to mention a few. You know that ETLS, we are members of ETLS. And Ghana abide by the ETLS protocols. Not only ETLS, when you go to the WTO Trade Facilitation Agreement, Ghana is a signatory to the WTO Trade Facilitation Agreement. And Ghana has set up what we call the National Trade Facilitation Committee, made up of 37 institutions, both private and local. And just last year, because we want to take issues of women cross-border traders very important, when our beautiful Queen Mother was speaking, she referred to the fact that most of the cross-border traders, small-scale cross-border traders, are women. And it's a fact. So we launched what we call the Gender Subcommittee of the National Trade Facilitation Committee just last year. So we have a Gender Subcommittee working on issues of women who ply our borders or who do small-scale cross-border trade. With the incoming of the AFCFTA, Ghana has signed and ratified, and we are happy to have the headquarters here in Ghana. So what are we doing in terms of trade facilitation? We are developing what we call the national framework based on a document known as BIAT, Boosting Intra-African Trade. And the second component of this framework borders on trade facilitation. So we are doing all this to help and support the work that is being done to facilitate the movement of goods and services across our borders. But you may bear with me that trade facilitation issues is not an event. It's not a one-day thing. It's a process. And so gradually, government and other institutions are working tirelessly around the clock to ensure that we move the impediments from our way. I did mention the Abidjan-Lagos corridor. When we applied that route, we saw at least 93 border posts. You can imagine, we have police, we have customs, we have immigration, and we have, at times, I don't know. And if you have the opportunity, just travel to any of the members. You can just go to Burkina Faso or go to Togo and see whether you get your access through. You may be asked to provide a lot of documentations and others. There are a lot of institutions or numerous institutions who are helping us or who are working with government in this sector. We can talk of associations like GUTA, TAG, and even at the regional level, we have the FEWASI and WACTAF that is also working so hard to ensure that we're able to move goods, especially perishable goods, across our borders. So having been invited to this program, I was so happy that Mr. Owusu and his team are also working to help our work. As government, it is said that too much meat does not spoil the soup. So immediately we have more people helping our work, the happy we become. So we are so happy and we are pleased to have you join hands with us to work and facilitate trade as we try to remove the borders. So all that I want to say is that thank you very much for inviting the Ministry of Trade and Industry, and you are always welcome, and the government will also work with you from our office to ensure that we gradually remove some of these impediments, and most especially as we try to take advantage of the AFCFTA agreement, we ensure that at least within our sub-region, we should be able to trade among ourselves and get or gain the benefits of trade. So I wish to welcome you and say thank you very much for the initiative. Thank you.
Thank you very much. We will continue our workshop now with our keynote speech from Honorable Thomas Mbomba, who is the Deputy Minister of Foreign Affairs. He will also be doing the official opening of the workshop.
The media, can we take it there? The thing is too low. So, yeah. Honorable manage it, okay. It will manage it for us, okay.
Thank you, the organizer. Honorable Chair, honorable ministers from trade and industry from both sister countries, Nigeria and Ghana, the Executive Board of Host Foundation, Your Excellencies, members of the Diplomatic Corps, the Queen Mother, distinguished business executives and industry players or leaders, various security agencies, distinguished invited guests, friends of the media, ladies and gentlemen, I deem it an honor and privilege to be here on behalf of the Honorable Minister for Foreign Affairs and Regional, in collaboration with the Ghana Free Zone Authority and with the support of GIZ aims at creating synergy between key sector actors who play a vital role in small-scale cross-border trading. Trade among ECOWAS member states is little diversified as the region primarily exports a limited number of raw materials and imports industrialized products, increasingly food items. Intra-regional trade in ECOWAS is low, largely informed and dominated by staple food, yet it has a considerable potential to increase in the line with ECOWAS ambitions. The establishment of ECOWAS Trade Liberalization Scheme as a trade instrument aimed at encouraging duty-free trade among ECOWAS member states. The objective of ETLS is to ease trade by abolishing of custom duties levied on import and export and the elimination of non-tariff barriers among member states for the establishment of a free trade area at the community level. Small-scale cross-border trade being a major feature of African economic and social landscape contributes to the income of about 43% of Africa's entire population. Such trade support livelihood and create employment for disadvantaged and marginalized groups in society. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, traders, generally women, exchange small quantities of goods at a modest value due to a variety of constraints, including limited financing, low capacity, lack of machinery, insufficient marketing and distribution channels, among others. They may not necessarily register as formal business owners, yet do not operate the specific goals of circumventing existing laws, stipulated or tax and relevant procedures. As a matter of fact, cross-border trade, especially or typically pass through official crossing points and undergo formal clearance procedures but are poorly documented. As a prelude to market integration, ECOWAS has put in place a workable mechanism to achieve the free movement of persons throughout West Africa. This includes no entry visa for community citizens, the right of residence and establishments, an ECOWAS identity card, ECOWAS passport, as well as the brown card insurance scheme to facilitate vehicular movement across member states. ECOWAS passport and identity cards are a symbol of unity adopted to eliminate rigid border formalities and enhance modernization of border procedures with passport scanning machines and harmonize immigration formalities or forms designed to facilitate free and easier movement of persons across borders. The goal is to create a borderless West Africa. In effect, ECOWAS countries will only have a common external border to facilitate the internal movement of persons, goods, and services. Ladies and gentlemen, advanced technology has the potential to improve the efficiency of custom processes and to ease the flow of goods across borders. Economies with the most efficient trading environment shares common features and allow trade to exchange information with customs and other control agencies electronically. They also use risk-based assessment to limit physical inspection to only a small percentage of shipments, thus reducing custom clearance time. Likewise, this shipment, economic tends to trade within custom union or engage in other forms of bilateral and multilateral agreements, making time and cost for complying with border formalities negligible. Electronic system for filing, transferring, processing, and exchanging custom information has become important tool for managing flows of information in complex trade environments. The most advanced web-based system allow traders to submit relevant documents and pay duties online. When implemented effectively, such systems provide long-term benefits. They save time and money while streamlining procedures, limiting direct interaction with government officials, and reducing opportunities for bribery. Furthermore, the economies can benefit from custom electronic data interchange system as they can help government promote cross-border trade, combat frauds, and track statistical information on foreign trade transactions. The key to success is the ability of an economy to adapt its regulatory framework to the new information technology, regardless of income level, allowing electronic submission and processing of custom-related documents can be one of the most effective ways to reduce delays in the trading processes. The exchange of custom data and harmonization of custom procedures are important pillars of many regions. An electronic data interchange system can help facilitate the materialization of regional integration initiatives. Indeed, the full potential at digitalization economic data interchange system is seldom realized immediately. Implementing these systems takes time and involves a change in operational practices, in training, and in some cases, in the work habit of staff. Distinguished guests and participants, despite these associated benefits, implementation of this system faces challenges. Introducing an economic system often requires government to enact legislations on electronic signatures and transactions. Without appropriate legislation in place, the implementation of a new system can lead to redundancy and delays. Increasingly, economics are taking a step further to combat electronically not only traders and custom officials, but all agencies involving international trade through an outlines single window system. In this, the best scenario, the system allowed traders to file standard information and document through a single entry point to fulfill all import, export, and transit related regulatory requirements. The single window then shares relevant information with all parties involved in trade, including private participants such as banks, insurance companies, as well as public agencies, including immigration and vehicular registration authorities. West African economy faces special challenges, competing globally due to the size of the domestic market, diverse trade barriers, including technical, physical, and physical control at the borders, information symmetries, and the regional externalities, as well as transportation network connecting with trading partners. We can accelerate trade through efforts towards increasing border cooperation agreement and reducing the number of checkpoints so that cargo for small-scale border traders can move freely without being stopped for customs or other inspections until it reaches final destination. Deepening regional cooperation through such agreements may also lead to the creation of regional markets, generating economies of scale, local firms, increasing competition, increasing trade flow between cooperating partners, improving processes at the borders, correcting information asymmetries and the regional externalities, and interconnecting transportation. As a result, general improvements in efficiency may translate into reduced cost and increased speed when trading across borders. Inadequate infrastructure is one of the main burdens in intra-trade among member states, and it can be severely impact trade facilitation. The importance of infrastructure is most evident when considering the efficiency of ports, the ability to ensure timely cargo transfer, vital dimension of their competitiveness. Efficient border checks are not only technologically advanced using robust and automated container handling, but also employ digital platforms and as core community system to ensure the smooth and reliable transfer of information between all members. Efficient border checks generate many economic benefits, including increased trade volumes, low trade costs, higher employment, and foreign investments. Ladies and gentlemen, in conclusion, it should be noted that today's global market economy, the competitiveness of industry in any country of the world depends largely on the world trading systems. The world trading systems is therefore critical to the performance and consequently survival of industries throughout the world. The West Africa region has defined a priority with regards to the integration in economics and trade matters. These priorities are the creation of a single regional market for the free movement of goods of ECOWAS origin. The creation of a single market is largely dependent upon one ability to establish a free trade area, common external tariff and custom union. Operationalization of the free trade area and the introduction of the common external tariff are to be accompanied by the following. A, trade facilitation measures to promote regional trade, harmonization of standardization policies, and the C is enhancement of capacity building of our border operatives. In addition to the above, we need to expedite action on the implementation of an initial or internal indirect tax reforms measures to facilitate the creation of the free trade area and the common external tariff. While we read, we need to take urgent steps to ensure free movement of goods and services. We also must initiate other measures to develop the region's productive or production capacity, integrate the use of advanced technology to continually improve services of our bodies or borders and eliminate border procedures, bottlenecks to meet international standards, and ensure microeconomic stability to achieve increased investments and economic development. I thank you for your kind attention.
Let's give a better round of applause for the Deputy Minister. Thank you. Thank you, Deputy Minister Honorable Thomas Mbomba. We will now invite Honorable Frank Ajekum, Executive Secretary, Ghana International Trade Commission, to close this opening ceremony and to launch the West African Trade Web Portal.
Thank you once again. All of us, we have come to the end of the opening session, but I'd want to congratulate the Deputy Minister because he had to read without his specs, and so you saw him really suffering to read his own notes, but That was the reason why, in his rush to come here from the Parliament House, he left his spectacles, so he could not really see what he was reading. So thank you and congratulations for going through it. Having said that, I must say that I'm very encouraged by what I have heard this morning through our own contributions. I'm encouraged because we all realize that we are one people, brothers and sisters, that have met here. We realize as brothers and sisters, we must be able to trade among ourselves as freely and as efficiently as possible. But then we also do realize that unlike the times of our forebearers who could just move around as they wanted and as they wished, we are in modern times where we need to observe rules and regulations. And so even as we move around to do our trade and make business for ourselves and for our communities, we do realize that there's importance for us to respect and recognize the various laws and regulations we made for ourselves. And so it is in this vein that I'm encouraged in that we've seen, and as one of us said, we've seen the problem, so how to resolve it is the matter. And that tells all of us that the problem is already half solved, which is encouraging. So the next step is the willingness of all of us in our various ways and in our various industries and workplaces. How do we put this together? And it's for the customs people, the immigration people, and all of us here in our various communities and industries and workplaces who must facilitate some of this, because we understand the need for us, even in these times, as we try to come together, that the laws must work. I mean, we remember in the 15th, 16th century where Thomas Hobbes wrote in his State of the Nature that life is brutish and short. There were no regulations. So anybody at all can move around and do what he wanted, kill you and stab you and take your goods and run away. We are no longer in those days. We have laws and regulations now. So unless we observe those laws and regulations, of course, we'll be going back into those states when lawlessness prevailed and when there was no guarantee for anybody for the next step in their life. So we have the rules and regulations. We have ECOWAS there to guide us. We have the AFCFTA to guide us. Let us all commit to move on in those various precepts that have been given to us, because as we spoke along, everyone was mentioning customs, immigration, customs, immigration, customs, immigration. If we know customs and immigration are the problem, why don't we resolve those problems? So please, let us resolve that as we move on, we begin to let the laws work, but of course, we begin to let them work in a way and manner that will facilitate and enhance the movement of people and of goods in the sub-region. We have no other way to go as a people but to show that our integration has real meaning to us, because the whole world is moving in that direction, and we should also move in that direction. So I thank you, and I believe that as the deliberations go on, a lot more will come out, because I can see that all of you have come here very well prepared to delve into the issues and to offer solutions. So I have no doubt that as you sit down in the next today and tomorrow, we'll come out with very laudable solutions to ideas. And as had been said, last week, POS also held another one with traders, small-scale traders, and a lot of issues have come up. Those would also inform some of the conclusions that I reached here, because you then realize what the small-scale traders face at first hand, and having said it, they'll put their very concerns to you, and you as officials who regulate trade and movement along our corridors will then begin, not that you don't know, you do know of them, but it will re-enhance and reinforce so that you begin to take the urgent steps that you do. So I wish you good deliberations as you go along. But then I have also, before, the other strand of this conference is talk about technology. I mean, these days we're all talking about technology, and we have to move apace with technology. And as has been said, even our mothers and fathers and whoever, grandfathers and grandma who haven't even been to school, today are able to use the mobile phone, and they're able to speak and know what to do with it. So for us as a people who are policymakers in various ways and shapes, it is important that we move along in this direction. And POS has also taken that big step to ensure that they have a portal known as the West Africa Trade Web Portal, which would enable us to know at first hand the regulations and laws of each country. So that as you move from along the Abidjan-Lagos corridor, you do realize that from Abidjan to Ghana, when you get to Ghana, these are the laws and regulations that are needed for your whatever you are carrying. Or as you move along, or in COVID times in Ghana, you have to wear a mask, you have to do this. As you move from Ghana to Togo, when you get to Togo, this is what you have to do, and all those things are there. These ones, by the help of the World Wide Web, you just press a button on your whatever, your mobile device, and then you are able to read for yourself what you need to do as you move along. Because Paul said that we need to observe the laws and regulations. And don't forget that as we move into AFCFTA, all these regulations are going to be harmonized in a manner that they become holistic for all of us to move along. So it's important that we begin to know about them. And the best way and the much better way to go about it in these days is through the through the World Wide Web. And as I have said, POS has therefore developed the West Africa Trade Web Portal for the good of all of us and to enhance the way we do business in the sub-region. So I'll have the pleasure to say it's been launched and to thank you all for your audience. Thank you. So POS is going to show us the web we're on, so we know how we can access it and use it for our benefit. Thank you.
Hello everyone. I'm here to basically preview the website. So you can access it at www.westafricanfreetradehub.com. So we can basically scroll down, so that's it right there. So this is the web address. If you haven't, it is kindly. All right. So it's a nicely designed website. Essentially, this is the home page. When you scroll, you can see the country level pages. So with all the countries that are represented, that's where to find them. And then you can click on each of them. So basically take you to the specific country. And so for instance, this is Nigeria. Also at the top of each website, we have language translation. So we have currently English and French, so that you can easily basically access them. Also, we have a news section. So basically, whatever is happening in each member country will be highlighted so that you could basically stay up to date with what's going on. And then lastly, we have a contact form where we can basically receive feedback and then constantly improve the web portal with the right information that's needed. Yeah. So the last phase of this would be to have a directory to essentially list all the traders in the various countries. Basically, this is to enhance, trust, and then also basically enhance commerce. So that would be in the second phase of the project. Right. So that's it. Thank you.
So we are taking photos, and so those on the right.